Hello Power Rangers Lightning Collection fans, and welcome back to Toku Topics. Today I'm taking a look at the second figure in Wave 12, finally getting another retail wave out here at the end of 2022. This one being the Mighty Morphin Black Ranger Adam version, which is certainly a thing. So this is a figure that for a very long time I knew that there was going to be a Mighty Morphin Black in Wave 12, but was not sure which version of the character of the suit it was going to be. And it's a lazy release. I'm just going to say it's absolutely a lazy release. It's also a very skippable release unless you have the original version released back in Wave 6 in 2020. So it's definitely interesting. It's been 2 years and exactly 6 waves later that we have another MMPR Black for the collection here. And of course I'm going to compare the two because there are some very slight differences to the two as well, even with the box, which we will go ahead and start out with here. So here is the empty box from my original Zack release from Wave 6. So as you can see, the artwork is still the same, is one of the final releases to use Tom Whalen artwork, but it's a little bit different, as you might be able to see on the shading kind of areas here. It's like, those kind of shaded areas are present on the original box, but they're like more gray on this one, so that's definitely just something kind of interesting there. The lightning bolt inside is different, you have that kind of yellow kind of streak in there when it's not like that on that side. And then the artwork continues to be minorly different like that with the shading. It's also, I would say, more zoomed in on the Adam one. It's like closer, while this one's a little bit more further away, which is just kind of interesting. So, just kind of the weird, somewhat minor differences, and that's going to be virtually the same here on the other side. And then, of course, on the back, you have very different, as the boxes have gotten turned around, you have very different back renders, because this one is advertising the big blast effect piece that you would get with the Power Axe, but you do not get the Power Axe with this one. You get this thing, this weird fire extinguisher thing that was used as one of the one-off episode weapons in Season 2 of Mighty Morphin. It's something that Adam never even used. It was actually used by Zack, but hey, whatever. And also there's a little dirt mark on my box, so that's interesting. So, but that's pretty much the biggest differences between the two boxes there. As you can also see, mine is a little dinged up from Amazon, maybe, if I can capture the light. It got a little beat up there, which I'm not happy about at all, but since this is a figure that I only really am getting because of completion's sake, I don't really care, to be perfectly honest. So, it's not a bad figure, it's just, I didn't need it, So I didn't need another MMPR Black figure, even though it is minorly different. One thing that is interesting to me, though, is that, as you can see here, since we don't have a Power Axe, they actually included all 3 versions of the Blade Blaster, which is kind of like their new hip thing that they really like doing. Whenever we get some new versions of Mighty Morphin, they're like, oh, let's throw in all of 3 versions, because it used to be really, really rare that we would get the bladed version or the holstered version, and now we get it quite frequently. And it was actually the original Zack release that had the very first release of the bladed version, so that's kind of interesting. But on the back render, they have the blaster version still in the holster, which it's like, but guys, he literally has the correct version right there. It's very odd. So that is what we have going on here, and obviously we have an Adam head sculpt that is not a Zack head sculpt, of course. So let's go ahead and open them up here and take a look at the Adam version of Mighty Morphin Black. Okay, so here is Adam out of the box with all of his accessories, and it's not a bad figure by any means. It's just if you have the original Wave 6 version, you have this one, essentially. So I do like the accessories that you get here, and I never mind necessarily getting some cool, interesting one-off things and stuff like that. So it's not a bad release. It's just like, when people complain about things like taking up wave slots, this is taking up a wave slot, in my kind of opinion. We could have gotten an infinite amount of other characters other than a MMPR Black re-release with an Adam head. Because it wasn't like we needed an Adam head. We have one with Zeo Green, we have one with Metallic Black, we have one kind of with the Ninja Black Ranger, that one's more specifically tailored to that figure in particular. But I don't know. See, in my personal opinion, I would not have minded this figure if it was the Overdrive Defender Vest version from Once a Ranger and had like a Once a Ranger like Adam head sculpt. That is, I think, a perfectly justifiable release of this figure again, and I really would have preferred that to be here, and I hope one day we can get something like that. But for the most part, it's fine. There's another missed opportunity here, which I'm going to get into when I go ahead and take a look at the figure right now, and that is, this should have been pinless, and I don't really know why it isn't. So we took a look at the other day, Kira from the same wave, who is pinless, because we are, slowly kind of starting to fully go into pinless on everything here, and double jointed female elbows and everything like that. And they introduced a male pinless body for Mighty Morphin figures with the Color Swap 2-pack, with the male version, the Jason version of the Yellow Ranger. that figure did have some shortcomings where the legs were incredibly loose at the knee joint, and maybe that's a good thing that we're not bringing out that pinless body on multiple MMPR figures yet. But basically, I think it's kind of weird that this one is not pinless, so it's probably going to be one of the final releases to be pinless, I would imagine, or to not be pinless, but, you know, it's fine, I suppose. Now, they did correct two things. One thing that I think actually deserved to be correct, and another thing that I wasn't really thinking needed to be corrected, but it does look better, and that is the helmet and the Morpher. So if you go ahead and bring in the original Wave 6 release of Mighty Morphin Black, which has basically the exact same helmet as the armored release from Walgreens back in 2019, the original Power Morpher on this one, for whatever reason, does not have the red circle trim that's supposed to be there. All the other Mighty Morphin Rangers had it, but Zach did not for some reason. But they have restored that to the Atom release there, so that is a more show-accurate Power Morpher. And then they did remold the helmet. Now this, I believe, if I remember correctly, this is using the helmet sculpt that was first debuted on the metallic release of Mighty Morphin Black, which it does look better. It does look actually a lot better. I never thought that this was a bad helmet sculpt for Mighty Morphin Black. I still think that this one is pretty good. But yeah, the new one is a lot better, in my opinion. They basically kind of made the visor a little bit more skinnier. They definitely shrunk the size of the Mastodon trunk on the side. And yeah, this helmet does just look better. So in that regard, I do appreciate that, getting a release here in the regular color, or, you know, not translucent to metallic plastic as on the metallic armor release. So, and then also, I can't tell, it's probably just not really a side effect of time, but it probably is. I feel like the white is a lot cleaner on the new one, and I guess, does that seem to imply that the figures are yellowing over time, as they would, because this figure is, the original Wave 6 one is 2 years old, and just looking at it, it feels like it's a lot yellowish-er of a white on the white plastic there, but this one is definitely a lot more cleaner of a white, which, like I said, it's hard, because I mean, I try not to keep the figures like in direct lights or anything like that, and most of the time they're sitting in bins, kind of just sitting around, and I try not to touch them too often, so I can't really tell if this figure is yellowing actually over 2 years, and this one is just obviously being brand new. It's going to look a little cleaner, and this one will do the same thing. Or maybe this one was always kind of a slightly off-white. But yeah, that's just one thing that I'm definitely noticing. Definitely in person, I'm not sure how much it's coming across on camera, to be perfectly honest, but it's definitely something I've noticed, is that the white on here is definitely a lot more than this one is, which this one honestly kind of looks bad to me now, honestly. So in that regard, I'm kind of fine with having this in, you know, some weird ways. And also the paint just looks like it's cleaned a little bit more cleaner applied on the diamonds, on the boots, and stuff like that. But, you know, it's a Mighty Morphin Black figure. We've had one now. This is, what, the fourth one? Because we've had the armored one, the regular one, the metallic one, and this one. So you pretty much know what you're going to get with this. So there is that, if he's going to stand. Now, you do get all three versions of the Blade Blaster, which, interestingly enough, I did realize in my Color Swap 2-pack that they included a brand new Blade Blaster blade mode, or blaster mode, that had a peg for an effect piece. This is the original mold that we've had since 2019, so you probably have a half a dozen, or way more than, maybe even a dozen of these at this point. And then we have the bladed version, which is the same as the one that came in the original Zack release, and then like the Scorpina and Aisha 2-pack, and I think, Cell Shaded Pink had it, and stuff like that too. We get this a lot now. And then the holstered one that we've gotten in a couple of other releases as well, so we can go ahead and put that holstered one into the Blade Blaster holster, which is nice. I do like getting more holstered ones, because that is how it is supposed to be. And then you do get very simple, you know, typical Lightning Collection, kind of the default hand options when they don't give somebody kind of special hands. It's just some 2 fists. So, you know, we get these very, very constantly. They are nothing special. Now, what is special, though, is this thing, which is this weird, like, extinguisher weapon is what they call it, which is something that appeared in literally one episode, maybe even, like, one scene of an episode from Mighty Morphin Season 2. I don't even remember which episode. I'll put the episode title up on screen right now. But this was a weapon used by Zack, not even by Adam, and they even acknowledged that when they revealed this figure, is that even though Zack used this whenever they do character refreshes, it kind of gives them an opportunity to do kind of weird, obscure things like this. So cool, I definitely like it. I think it's painted well. I think especially for how, you know, it doesn't really have like a nice, clean, clear picture, because it is just such a weird, obscure thing. But it is also something that's being included with the Super 7 Ultimates figure of the Black Ranger, so I'm wondering if Hasbro got inspiration there from that and decided to make this in their own Lightning Collection thing. But I do like the little green paint on there, and the gold and the silver, and everything like that. Now the effect piece is meant specifically for that. So you get this very tiny little effect piece, a brand new one that has like a white peg at the end, which is definitely very interesting, which can just peg, maybe, right into there, and kind of look like it's like, you know, blasting some water or something out of the little extinguisher, which, you know, I think that works. I do like that. So I don't mean it's not enough, I feel, to justify the entire figure's existence necessarily, but it is a nice little accessory and weapon to be included there. And then we have the Atom head, which I'll go ahead and swap right now. So we'll take off the new Black Ranger head, which is on there pretty tightly. Look how tightly that was on there. Like, I totally thought that this joint was going to break. That's nuts. Because it left like this whole little like trail there. So we'll see how easy it is to put the Atom head on. Very easy. I like whenever it's difficult to get the head off and then like I can get it on there perfectly. But there is the Atom head sculpt there, which, yeah, I'm pretty sure is different than the one that was with the metallic release and with Zeo Green. So here is a comparison between him and Johnny on Bosch. Which, yeah, I do think it is a new Atom head sculpt. I think it's a pretty good one, though. I think it's a good likeness to him. I definitely see Atom in there. So I do really like Atom. He's one of my favorite Power Rangers characters as well. So it's you know, it is nice to get a designated like regular Mighty Morphin Black release for him specifically. But like I said, I just would have preferred it to be like the Once a Ranger version with the Defender vest. I think that that would have been really cool. See, now I can't get the. Oh my gosh. See, that's not on there. There we go. Nope. So I would have preferred the Overdrive version with the Defender vest. But like, what is happening here? Like the civilian head. Oh my gosh, there we go. The civilian head clicked in so easily, but that one, no, not so easily. Even though it does look nice, but like, wow. So that is, that is Atom. Alright, and with that, that is going to do it for my video review of the Mighty Morphin Black Ranger Atom version from Lightning Collection Wave 12. So, not a bad figure by any means. I do like the accessory, I do like the new helmet, I think the Atom head sculpt is nice, and it is always nice getting all three versions of the Blade Blaster. But it's just definitely a very skippable figure. If you already have the original Zack release from Wave 6, you're not really going to need this one. There's also other ways to get the Power Axe. You can get it in other figures. So it's like, you know, it's with it not being here, it's not the biggest, you know, end-all be-all deal in the world because you can get it other ways. So I think it's skippable for sure, but I do get it, you know, if you're a really big fan of Atom, or like I said, you know, a couple minutes ago, if you never got the original Zack version from Wave 6, it's definitely a good pickup for that to kind of fill your gaps. But since it is, you know, not pinless, and it's definitely a figure with the new head sculpt and everything that I could see them releasing again, probably maybe soon with like pinless joints and everything, it almost feels like this is going to have a very short lifespan of being a relevant figure to get. And I don't really know why Hasbro picked this of all things to be the figure that they put out in Wave 12, but it's not bad. It's just kind of an odd choice that is not the best, you know, figure choice that I think they could have gone with. But until next time, of course, you guys can check out the Mighty Morphin Black Ranger on Amazon, which I'll be leaving an affiliate link to down in the description below, which helps out the channel if you order it via there. And of course, I would love to read your guys' comments down below about this figure or anything in the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. And until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LiveRangerKey or at LightningFigPR, and I'll see you all later.